I am a survivor of sexual violence.
It started when I was pretty young. In high school, I was pretty much manipulated and taken advantage of. Basically, this guy came to me wanting advice and to be a friend. He said that he had heard from a lot of people that I'm a good person to talk to for advice and trustworthy and will listen. And so he came to me with that, and I was like, of course, I'll be there for you. And very quickly, he took advantage of that and got me into a situation I didn't know how to get out of. First of all, he told me he was 18 and I was 15, so that's already not okay. Later, I found out he was actually 21. He would continue talking to me and manipulating me and saying all kinds of stuff, and the main thing that really got to me was he would say that he would kill himself if I told anybody. One of the instances was I was at a football game and he was as well, and he got me to go to his truck, and first he was like, let's go over here, and he started driving and he drove to this other place. And when we got back on school campus, he parked his truck and he started forcing me into sexual acts. Like I said, I'd never talked to a guy, been with a guy. I didn't really know anything that was going on, but he was very forceful. My best friend had started noticing that I was not acting the same at all, and she ended up telling my school counselor. And so the school counselor pulled me out of class and started, asking me questions about what was going on. So basically they found out what happened, and I had to be interrogated. I had to go to this other place. I was tested in case he gave me STDs. I was offered counseling, things like that. So I got a restraining order against him. There was another time I saw him out in public. I was actually working. It was like the next year after that happened, and I saw him and I just broke down. During that whole process in between that time, I had to go to court. He went to court. High school and even in college, I've had several instances of sexual harassment. Catcalling is a common one that happens all the time to me as well as many other people. Messaging, I've had people get my number. I don't even know how. I've had people message me on pretty much every social media. All of these instances have affected who I am. For a while, it affected me in a negative way. I fell into a deep depression. My OCD and anxiety went ballistic. I never really slept much. I stopped eating pretty much. My trust issues were insane at that point. I still have trust issues, but they've gotten better. I would still have flashbacks all the time, and when I was in that relationship, I didn't really know how to set boundaries yet, and so he would say or do something that would trigger me, and I would, have panic attacks or just start crying out of nowhere, physically get sick to my stomach. That happened for a while. But also throughout this whole process, I think it made me a stronger person, and each time I talked about the situation and had different experiences with different people, I learned, to not just look at the negative side about it, but to really get me through it, I would try to find the positive sides. It did make me a stronger person. I'm able to see more red flags. I learned how to love and trust in different ways than I think most. And everyone should know. People need to be aware that this can happen.
My sexual harassment started when I was young. I was probably in the 7th grade when I first experienced something like that. This boy who sat behind me in English class, he would pop my bra straps every single day, even if I told him to stop, and that I wasn't a fan of that at all. but he thought it was funny and he thought it was a joke. And when I confronted the teacher about it, because it made me very uncomfortable, I was moved to the other side of the room, and he received no punishment at all. When I was a senior in high school, that is when I first had my first experience of sexual assault. I had been friends with this person all throughout high school, and we were very close, but I mean, we never dated or anything, and I never thought anything of that. One day after school, it was on a Friday, he had asked me earlier in the day, because he had gotten this new car, because he's a car junkie, and he said that he asked me if I would want to come and hang out with him. We had a football game that night, so I had to stay after anyway. So after school, we met in the parking lot. We went and rode around all these back roads, and he said that he had to go by his house because he needed to pick something up for the game later. He said that we should go inside because he didn't know where it was. So we went in, and he was like, hey, let's hang out, watch some Netflix, you know, and just chill for a little while. It should be fine. And I was like, okay, I really thought nothing of it. I thought we were just gonna hang out. We were sitting on his bed, and he put his hands on my legs, on my like sliding them up my thigh, and I was really uncomfortable. And I was like, what are you doing? I kind of brushed it off, and I was like, well, let's just watch TV. And that's when he kissed me, and it didn't stop there. I asked him, I told him that we probably shouldn't do this, when he started unbuttoning or sliding down my shorts. And
why did he think that was okay? Why did he think that I wanted that? I wonder every day if he thinks about it, though. If he wonders how it affected me, or if it did. I just felt lost and scared and confused. And when they told me that I would ruin his life forever if I kept pursuing this, because he could go to jail for a long time, I felt like they were blaming me. I never spoke to him again after that. I changed my class schedule. Well, after the whole first incident, that I was in a really low point in my life. I had no self-worth, I had no ambition. I just was kind of wandering around life. When I finally decided, you know, like, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna be a college student, I'm gonna get a degree, and I got to college, and you know, of course, you fall into, you know, the party life and wanting to fit in, and you go out and you hang out with people, and you meet all kinds of new people. They all come at you with like the same regurgitated pickup lines, and they try to buy you a drink, and they think that them basically existing and spending like $5 on you means that you're gonna go home with them, or you're at least gonna go to the parking lot with them. I did find an outlet for all of the mess in my head and it was actually fitness. I honestly found something very therapeutic in being able to run, and the solitude and the strength that it gives you simultaneously. That has honestly been my saving grace.
My sexual violence started when I was probably 11 years old, and that started happening when my parents got divorced when I was 3. So my mom got remarried to a man, and he ended up sexually abusing me, and it actually took me a long time to even come to terms with it. I don't even think I've still come to terms with it, but I'm more open to talking about it now. And for a long time, like during my middle school, through my high school, and even up to my like first years of college, I was very angry and just, I don't know, had a weird thing about me. And a lot of my friends and family like noticed, but they had no idea like what I was going through. It wasn't until recently that I actually told my family. There was an altercation, and the man who actually abused me is my sister's father. So they have, they don't see each other because he's gotten into a lot of drugs and stuff. So we ended up finding where he lives, and it just brought back up a lot of memories. And so I finally told my mom and my dad about it like this year. I didn't feel like I could tell anyone because my parents were divorced, and I didn't think anybody would believe me. And this event even affected like my current and past relationships without me even realizing it. It just, the way I saw things, the way I reacted to certain things, even with my family or friends, or guys who I was in relationships with. I'm currently 21 years old now, and so there's been a lot of time in between, a lot of time to, I guess, sit on such a big secret, to hold on to like myself without telling anyone. And I think like what helped me to kind of like speak up about it is because a lot of women nowadays are getting sexually harassed or sexually abused and anything like that, and they're getting taken advantage of, and it's not fair. And seeing like women like Kesha, who's my favorite artist of all time, seeing her I guess just come out and being so strong, it helped me to be so strong in a way too. Seeing that other women can do it made me hope that I can do it.
Throughout high school and college, I had multiple incidents with sexual harassment, and most of the time it was over the internet, either on a computer or over the phone, with multiple incidents with guys messaging me with inappropriate things.
It's definitely affected the way I view like literally everything. When it comes to boys or the way people speak to me, anything like that, I literally look at every detail. I just don't want girls to feel like they're alone, and I don't want girls to be taken advantage of just because we're girls. A lot of people think we have no say, but when we stand all together, we do.